is Maureen of Amari Baking Center, and we train individuals how to bake, especially using Cookswell charcoal ovens. We also offer small business training for anyone who might want to start a small baking business from home and then maybe grow it to a small baking shop. When I started this business, I was actually baking commercially. I was baking fruit breads and selling them to people. And basically, I started this because of a need I saw in the market. There was no one who was selling the baked goods I was selling, which are fruit breads like banana bread, lemon bread, and nobody was delivering to people at economical prices. So that was really my niche. I was selling baked goods and actually delivering to people at their own convenience. It also came from the fact that I was frustrated from employment and I just kind of wanted to start a project or an income generating activity and not have to work at the same time. So that's mainly why I started the business. First and foremost, baking is an exact science, so it's not really like cooking, but it makes it easy if you follow directions. So once you learn the basic principles of baking, the techniques to use, the measurements to use, the accuracy, once you learn that, actually it becomes a little easier. So baking is not that extremely hard. Once you follow the rules, you'll actually be able to come out with a good result. And another thing is that you need practice. So if you're willing to take that time to actually practice, then yeah, you'll be able to bake. As long as you're dedicated and you have the passion for it, you can be able to do it. We have trained over 300 people, and we do train groups, women groups or even youth groups in different counties. Like for example, I've trained people in Kitale, a women group in Kitale, youth groups in Eldoret. We also hold periodical trainings in Nyeri, usually for ladies or youth who are willing to learn how to bake. We've also trained people in Kisumu as well. So we're able to go in different counties and do external trainings for anyone who wants to learn how to bake, especially for people who are willing to learn how to bake using charcoal ovens. We use Cookswell charcoal ovens because, one, it's an economical way of baking, especially if you're looking at your expenses and you're starting a small baking business. Usually when you're starting a baking business, you have an electric or gas oven. The expenses the first 6 months might be a little higher for you, and as a small business you might not be able to maintain those costs. So usually with a charcoal oven, even if I need to bake one cake, I can buy one can of maca that's 50 bob and I can bake 2 cakes and sell my cakes. If I want, I can decide to buy a bucket or buy a bag of charcoal if I can be able to afford it. Now the thing about an electric oven, no matter whether you're baking if you're baking 1 cake or 10 cakes, it costs about the same, and over time that expenses can grow to be really, really high. And if your small business is very young, you might not be able to handle that costs. And that's one of the reasons why small businesses close so early, within the first year. So what you want to do is be able to get past that starting stage, be able to minimize your costs until you're able to be consistent and have higher sales. Then you can be able to transition from a charcoal oven to something else. But if you start with a charcoal oven, you have a higher chance of success because you save on expenses, and especially with Cookswell oven, you save energy. That means you don't use as much maca when you're baking. Like 1 cake, you can use half a can of maca, that kind of thing. So that's why we really focused on using them. And since when we were starting the business, we were actually using charcoal ovens, there was a high demand for people who wanted training on how to use those ovens specifically. It's definitely a huge industry and it's growing at a very high rate. Yes, I do have some few role models. There's some established cake houses such as cakes.co.ke. So the founder of that bakery, her name is Grace Murugi. She's one of I look up to her. She's one of the people I look up to. There's also Beatrice Muteru of Joy Bells. She does a really good job and she has really grown her brand. So she's also somebody I look up to. The entrepreneurship tip I live by is that as an entrepreneur, you should always learn. You should keep learning, never stop learning, because most of the time you're going to learn in different ways. That includes even through failing. So by failing, by meeting other people, networking with other people, just keep learning. And what that does is help you grow as an entrepreneur and help your business grow as well. Because as you're learning, you're growing your business, and it's just getting better. So your business gets better, and you as an entrepreneur as well, you grow and get better. My life mantra is to never give up, no matter how low you go, because as an entrepreneur, a small business owner, you have a lot of highs and you have a lot of lows. So no matter how bad it gets, just never give up. Just keep finding ways to stay motivated and find a way forward. One thing I would have told myself is to do research before doing something new. So if you want to either start a new service or roll out a new product or move to a new location, make sure you do the research, because a lot of small businesses have a tendency to just make decisions without really finding out whether it's about the location, finding out the people there. Are they going to buy your product? Is your product a viable product in that location? Make sure you do your research before you actually do something, because you can make a really, really expensive mistake by making a decision that will really cost your business. I'd say I'm relentless. This means that when I make a decision on something I want, or a goal that I want to achieve, I go for it, I'm focused, and I chase it until I get whatever it is that I want. For Amari, the big picture is I want us to be the go-to business when it comes to learning anything about baking in Kenya and hopefully in Africa. That's classes, recipe books, how to start a small baking business. I want to be, we want to be the brand that offers those resources to people who want to get started, or for people who already have that skills, how to, take their skills to the next level. So basically, want to be that brand that when you're thinking about baking or learning how to bake, that's the first thing that comes into your mind.